How to start a fine wine collection. With Bordeaux growing its best grapes since 1949 and Asia's markets booming, now could be the ideal time to start a fine wine collection. All that is required is a real passion for wine. Steps. 1. Debunk the myths. There are some myths to debunk about fine wine collecting. Firstly, that it is just for the super wealthy. It isn't. It can also be flexibly adopted as a lifestyle or merely a hobby, depending on how much time you wish to invest. Secondly, you don't need a large underground cellar. And, thirdly, you don't need to part with a large up-front investment. 2. Set yourself a budget. Wine collecting is driven by passion and excitement, and can quickly get out of hand. So, to avoid finding yourself hunting for those great wines and forgetting the impact on your wallet, decide how much of your money to spend and stick to it. At an average cost of $10 a bottle, an average case of wine can be around $120. So, by buying one case a month you'd spend just under $1,500 a year, or, at $30 the annual cost is $6,000, and so on. 12 cases a year isn't a bad target. This would give you 144 bottles overall, equaling a bottle to drink every 3 days or 2 bottles a week. 3. Define your strategy. You've determined your total spending, now figure out how and where you're going to spend it. This could reflect your drinking patterns. For instance, you may like 1 glass of wine during a night's meal. At 4 glasses per bottle, you will need about 2 bottles a week, or a case of wine a month. Maybe factor your family and loved ones into the total, and any special events or family holidays. Let's assume there are an average of 12 major events in a year. For these, factor in another 24 special bottles. 4. Ask yourself, can I afford this strategy? 20. 4 cases of $10 per bottle wine are approximately $3,000. Another 2 cases of specialty wine at $20 per bottle will cost approximately $500. So, to support your buying strategy, you'll need about $3,500. How does this compare with your budget? If you're over budget, then perhaps consider less costly wines, or simply fewer cases. 5. Look at the wine itself. Wine storage can be simple and hassle-free if you plan to drink your wine within 6 months. If not, you may want to invest in age-able wines which can be stored for many years. 6. 3 crucial factors to bear in mind. Not all wines are created to be aged. In fact, most wines are best drunk while young. Improper storage will easily and likely ruin your wine. Wine's value decreases after its prime time. 7. Determine which wine is age-able. Wine without much personality, i.e. lacking a strong structure and with no character to its taste, won't benefit at all from aging. In fact, aging the wrong bottle is a bit like watering down a good bottle of wine with water. Good, age-able wines are tannic, acidic, well-structured, and complex. Tannins, the natural preservatives that come from the grape's skin, will soften as time passes. It will round up the wine, bringing out its best bouquet and balance. Good, age-able wines include, from France, Médoc, Graves, Saint-Emilion, Pomerol and Pomade, from the U.S., Premium California Cabernet Sauvignon, and, from Australia, Penfolds Grange, among many others. 8. Plan out your collection. The ideal wine collection should comprise a cross-section of wines, some for long aging and some for ready drinking. But how can you successfully collect and balance the two? For starters, you've already determined how much wine you are looking to consume over the coming year, and how much money you can and are willing to spend. Among lovers of fine wine, it isn't unusual for drinkers to develop three-season palates. In the summer, we go for light-bodied, refreshing wines and, in the winter, for more full-bodied reds. So, why not buy your wine to match the seasons? About 8 cases of light-bodied bottles for the summer, and 10 cases of full-bodied wines for the winter, and the rest somewhere between the two? 9. Storing your wine. Many would advise that, for a beginner collector, storage is best left to the professionals. However, here is some advice on storing it yourself. Wine, like any perishable food item, is sensitive to its surroundings. Fortunately, the alcohol in wine does act as a preservative. But heat and air are the natural enemies of wine. The quality of your wine storage will affect its value. 10. Your wine storage area should have the following attributes. A cool, constant temperature, ideally between 50-55 degrees Fahrenheit, or 10-16 degrees Celsius, with minimal fluctuation. Try to stay below 68 degrees Fahrenheit. The warmer the temperature, the faster your wine will age. Temperature fluctuations can result in ullage, meaning wine is lost as the liquid expands and contracts in the varying temperatures. Moderate humidity, ideally 65-75%. The cork in the bottle requires this to maintain its seal and stay moist. Keep your bottles on their side, and avoid having them inverted. No vibration. Vibrations will break up the alcohol and acid chemical bonds, or esters, which give aged wines their bottle bouquet. No light. Wine is badly affected by UV rays. This is primarily why wine bottles are colored either green or brown, for minor protection. Therefore, store your wine in darkness. 11. Know when to drink or sell your collection. Wine's value drops after its ideal maturity, which differs for each grape and is affected by the wine's region or vintage. A premium Bordeaux, for instance, may take 15 years to peak or open up, whereas a premium Burgundy, based on thin-skinned Pinot Noir grapes, can peak in 8 years. You can find out the recommended aging period from various online resources such as Wine Spectators and Robert Parker. If you plan to sell your wine, you will get the best price 1 to 3 years before the recommended serving time. Tips. Try before you buy a dozen, or review online tasting notes. And only buy from places which take special precautions to store their wines. Another storage tip: leave your wine alone. Once you have put your wine down for aging, you should leave it without any further contact or movement until you are ready to drink it. Look for discounts. Usually, you can get 10-20% discount when you buy 12 bottles of wines. Buy from wholesalers, via restaurants, or visit vineyards and join their wine clubs. Wines under $25 are best drunk in 3-5 years. If you want to keep a collection for 3-5 years, invest in wines in the $25-35 category. If you want to keep a collection for 5 or more years, invest in wines over $40. If you buy wines en primeur, in the cask, before it is bottled, thoroughly research the merchant's history and reputation. Opt for the pay-on-delivery payment method. Correctly storing wine doesn't necessarily mean getting the builders in. Depending on the size of your planned collection, you can buy a wine fridge, turn an existing basement or spare room into a wine cellar, or rent a wine storage facility, like a temperature-controlled wine warehouse. Whatever your choice, be sure to set and monitor the temperature, humidity, and aging period. Computer software packages and tech devices are available to help you do this. Look for wines with a 3 to 5 year maturity window, which can be enjoyed at their peak at certain times over the coming years.